All right, we are live. Today is Wednesday, May 27th. Quite a bit of news coming out. Well, let's get this right underway. Starting first, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt gets a new DLC out of nowhere. Uh, I'm not sure if anyone actually saw this coming, but it's here, it's official. It does come with, kind of surprisingly, a updated hardware recommendation. Are they actually updating just the game itself, or is this going to be more than that? You know, perhaps a overall engine upgrade, a game upgrade. Not quite sure, but definitely good to see that. You know, even an old game like this, if it's much loved, devs are going to go back to it. Well, what games, you know, could also benefit from this? I think there's plenty, and obviously Skyrim comes to mind as the first one. Where is the more DLC? As noted by a couple people, this does give hope that Cyberpunk 2077 might get a future DLC. Certainly a lot of people who would like to return to that world. But yeah, good to see, as I said, old games getting new stuff. Definitely been out there. Some bit unfortunate news. Steam Deck OLED is back again. However, it has had a massive price hike. Going from what the original 1 terabyte OLED was, I believe, $599, $699, somewhere around there. It is now $949 US, which, man, that's insane. I think I got the non OLED, you know, the first wave of Steam Decks for, I want to say 500, and that felt like a very good deal for the hardware that was involved, for the use case. That was a good price for that. $1,000. You know, comparing this to the other hardware that, you know, I built with my current computer years ago, that's so much money. That's a very good graphics card. And again, if $1,000 for that is what Valve's asking, definitely, you know, shares us with what the Steam Machine is going to cost. Valve has said repeatedly that the Steam Machine is 7 times more powerful than the Steam Deck. Don't think that's going to relate one-to-one for price, but I think it's safe to say at this point the Steam Machine will absolutely be over $1,000. I think this kind of proves it. Moving on to our next story. Looks like Discord is adding another new feature, spatial audio. Some don't know the use case on this. You know, perhaps for some of the more social games, this might be needed. Don't know a time or a place that this would be something that I would need to do, but it's there. I guess it's good to see them innovating, adding new things to Discord. It can't just be channels and slightly better audio all the time. So is this a feature anyone would actually use? I guess we'll find out. Moving back to Steam, they are bringing a update for the workshop. So how you download your mods. We saw a week or two ago them do kind of this thing to the marketplace, big for, you know, CS:GO skins, other games with their skins or marketplace content. Bringing this to the workshop as well. You know, what it used to look like was serviceable. You could eventually find stuff, but hopefully this new way will, you know, just streamline everything, bring it into how we expect UI to work, you know, in 2026, as well as, again, most importantly, make it easier to find mods you specifically want to use. Collaborate with, try to get friends mod lists to match yours or a particular server. Hopefully overall better experience. Don't think they usually don't miss the mark on these. The marketplace, the overall storefront update, late last year, early this year. Usually when they're pushing something like this, it's gonna be a positive for everyone. Moving on to Sony, their days of play kick off today, running until June 10th. There are all sorts of PlayStation things, from games to be downloaded to in-game events, couple of perks and various things to pick up. It is ironic though that at the same time that they announced this, they are also announcing the delisting from the PlayStation Store Destruction All Stars. Servers will also shut down in November. Yet again, another game killed off. I'm sure the guys at Stop Killing Games will be quick to add this to that list. Certainly, brings the question, Sony is willing to do this with potential game preservation bills going through. I know one is actively being worked on in California, potentially making this kind of thing not outright illegal, but they may have to, change things in the future. I'm sure there's got to be people that would like to play this game, either purchase it tomorrow or play it after November, and for them to delist this at the same time that they are supposed to be celebrating players and the games that they play, it's very ironic. Definitely not lost on us. Moving into the incredible world of games journalism, we have a new report coming from Game Developer stating that The Gamer, owned by Valnet. If you don't know, Valnet is one of the largest kind of conglomerate parent companies of a lot of gaming outlets. This article lists Game Rant and DualShockers as being two of them. They are changing the way that they pay their games journalists. I'm doing air quotes with my fingers here, to no longer it kind of looks like no longer to allow them to just continuously post slop that doesn't actually generate anything. They are now, as I could put simply, whereas past pay-per-view bonuses were additive to the base pay of an article, so if you made an article, you would get paid, for writing it, and then depending on how well it did, you would get a bonus based upon that. The new structure going forward is turning that bonus into the actual payment scheme. So you're no longer getting kind of a base rate for simply writing something. It is all tied into how that article actually does. Will this, bring into question people's guaranteed livelihood? Probably. Will it perhaps cut out some of the bloat that we're seeing in at least the websites listed, Game Rant and DualShockers? Probably. In this case, only the strong will survive. Only people writing things that gamers actually care about might be the ones that make it. So I can only see this as potentially a positive. At the end of the day, even if it's not, these people losing out, not huge. Obviously, we can still get our news somewhere else, and this is a making of their own mess. They kind of brought this upon themselves by acting as they did for the last, 10, 15, 20 years, creating countless articles that either nobody reads or is only getting read by some YouTube reactor to criticize the article. So hopefully, again, this will generate better content, or if anything, just more viewed content. And lastly, quick little roundup. Hunt Showdown gets a new little cinematic trailer for the Road to Hell update coming out. No Man's Sky also gets a trailer for their new the Swarm update, and for the console news. We knew this was coming. It's simply now live. Fallout 4 is getting storage expansion for mods or Fallout 4 creations. Previously, you were limited to, I believe it was one, a very small size of mods that you can install on the console. Now they're coming up to, I believe, as you said, here's up to 1.3. I thought it was bigger than that, but it's basically going to allow a lot of mods that are currently on PC. You'll now be able to, potentially play those on console. So good to see that. Good for them. Don't know why there's a limitation. You can put in, I think even Xbox sells a 1 terabyte add-on hard drive that they sell. It's through them. So the fact that you can't add, just like on PC, as much storage as you need, interesting. Kind of the closed ecosystem for no reason, but good to see it coming for them. That about wraps it up, though. We are done for today. So definitely tune in, like I said, Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, for daily roundup of news. Thank you.